Hello, and welcome to CTA Diversity Small Business Programs, DBE Certification, the Road to Excellence. Today's topics will include: what is a DBE? What are the eligibility requirements to apply? What are some of the required documentations to accompany your application? A little bit about the certification process, and then once you become certified, now what? We'll start with, what is a DBE? Well, DBE stands for Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. It's governed by the U.S. Department of Transportation, 49 CFR Part 26. It was established to accomplish and ensure the non-discrimination in the award and administration process of DOT contracts for highway, transit, and airport programs, to create a level playing field on which DBEs can compete fairly for DOT contracts, and also to help eliminate those barriers to participation of our DBE firms in DOT contracts. To be certified as a DBE, the business must be 51% owned and controlled by a socially and economically disadvantaged individual or individuals. Notice I said 51% owned and controlled. Controlled meaning must be an independent business and that is managed and controlled by the socially and economically disadvantaged owner or owners. Now, those two components, socially disadvantaged and economically disadvantaged. Well, it states United States citizens who are lawfully admitted permanent residents who are women, African American, Hispanic American, Native American, Asian Pacific American, or subcontinent Asian American may be eligible for socially disadvantaged. Economically disadvantaged states that firms are subject to applicable SBA small business size standards. A firm's 3-year annual gross receipts, including their affiliates, cannot exceed $26.29 million as of January 13, 2021, or the North American Industry Classification System, also known as NAICS codes, based on the firm's primary activity. Also, an individual claiming to be socially or economically disadvantaged, the personal net worth cannot exceed $1.32 million. Now, there are some exceptions, such as your personal home or personal residence, but there is a cap at $1.32 million for those claiming to be socially and economically disadvantaged. Which is a great segue to some of the required documentations that needs to accompany your application. First is the personal net worth statement. It should be completed, signed, and notarized for each person or persons that are claiming to be socially and economically disadvantaged. Here's a copy of that personal net worth statement. Again, you want to make sure it's completely filled out to its entirety. At the top, you have the contact name, business information, etc. It then moves you to your assets and liabilities. Section 2 down below are your notes payable to the banks and others if you have any loans, outstanding loan. Up top, section 3, your brokerage and custodial accounts, stocks, bonds, retirement accounts. Section 4, any real estate owned, primary residence, investment properties, you should list them there. Section 5 down below, your life insurance policies, you want to place your information there. Section 6, other personal property and assets. Section 7, value of any other business investments, other businesses owned. Section 8, other liabilities and unpaid taxes. Section 9, any transfer of assets. Again, you want to make sure you sign this, date it, have it notarized, and accompany your application. Other documentation may include your resume. There should be detailed resumes for each of the principal owners and the managers of the team. Your personal tax returns should be signed and dated for the last 3 years, including all schedules and attachments. Also, your federal business taxes, should you have been in business for the last 3 years, should also be signed and dated. Your tax return should also be included for any firms, any individuals of the, I'm sorry, should be included for any firms the socially and disadvantaged owners have ownership in. You should include any documentation of the proof of contribution. This may include any canceled checks, loans to the company with owner assets as collateral, proof of purchase of equipment from the owner's personal funds. If you have any outstanding loans, please provide your signed loan agreements and security agreements. Any list of equipment and/or vehicles owned and leased by the company. Titles, registration certificates, and US DOT numbers for each truck, should you have a trucking company. Any licenses, license renewal forms, permit and hauling authority forms. A list or a description of all real estate owned or leased by a firm. This should include signed lease agreements between the lessor or lessee, including the term of the lease and the dollar amount of the space. If you are operating your business out of your home, perfectly fine. Just include a copy of your tax bill or deed. Also include any documented proof of transfer of assets to and from the firm and or owners over the last 2 years. Schedules of your salaries. This may include copies of your W-2 forms for the last 3 years for all managers, officers, owners, and directors of the firm. List of all employees to include their job titles and dates of employment. Proof of citizenship. It may include your birth certificate, passport, or residency card. Your audited financial statements for the last 3 years. This should include both income statement and balance sheets. Should you have any trust, please provide your trust agreements held by any of the owners claiming disadvantaged status. List of product lines carried and list of distribution equipment owned and or leased. This may include supplier manufacturers providing a brochure or a catalog reflecting the products produced by the business or sold by the business along with the lease for the facilities where the products and or products are produced or sold. Now, while this is a standard list of required documentation, depending on your company structure, it may require additional documentation. For instance, if you are a corporation, you should also be prepared to include your official articles of incorporation, both sides of all stock certificates, stock ledger, shareholder agreements, minutes of all shareholder and board of director meetings, and your bylaws. If you're an LLC, limited liability company, your articles of organization and operating agreement will be warranted. Limited liability partnership may include your articles of organization and your partnership agreement. And then if you're a sole proprietorship, you should have registered it as an assumed name and obtain your EIN, your employer identification number. So I strongly suggest that you gather the checklist first and gather all of the information and the required documentation ahead of time, actually before starting the online application. Trust me, this will save you a great deal of time. The back and forth, the stop and go of, oh, I don't have this document, let me go find and research. It takes a little bit of time, and the application is time. You have 90 days to complete it. So if you don't submit everything within that required time, it will push you to start another application. But you can start the application at www.cta.dbesystem.com. There, you will complete both the vendor application and the DBE application. You can upload all of your supporting documents right there into the system. Once the application is received, it is assigned to a certification specialist. The review process may take anywhere between 90 to 120 days in which the file is reviewed and a site visit is scheduled and conducted. During this time period, if additional information is needed, the firm will be contacted. The firm will also be notified via email and mail of the CTA's decision. Congratulations, you're certified. Now what? The firm The DBE certification will be recognized by PACE, Metro, IDOT, and City of Chicago. That's right. Although you're certified with CTA, your certification is transferable to the other transportation agencies. Again, PACE, Metro, IDOT, as well as the City of Chicago. The firm will be listed in the Illinois UCP directory. This directory is public and allows primes to search for DBE firms by specialty area or NAICS codes. And then we encourage to attend outreach and network in order to inform contractors about your business and inform them of your new and recent DBE certification. Your certification is a marketing tool. Feel free to include it on your website, your capability statement, your business cards, of course, once you actually receive the approval. But we always want to lead with the quality product or service that we offer, and the cherry on top is that we are a DBE certified firm. I hope this information was helpful. I also hope to answer any questions that you all may have. Please submit them at diversity@transitchicago.com, or feel free to reach out to any of the management team. Juan Pablo Pareto, the Director of Diversity Programs, myself, Jamie Neely, the Manager of Small Business Development and Outreach, Benjamin Bendenfield, Manager of Certification Programs, Brittany Johnson, Manager of Compliance Programs, and Laura DeCastro, our Senior Project Manager of Administration. We thank you and hope to see you soon.